Nau mai, haere mai, piki mai, kake mai. Welcome to Auckland Museum Matariki Conversations. I was lucky enough to sit down with Amiria Puia-Taylor, Precious Clark and Pio today to gather their whakaaro on Matariki in this winter season of gathering, remembering and renewing. These conversations were centred around Hauora and Te Whare Tapa Whā, a Māori model of health encapsulated by Tāmaki Paenga Hira in 1984. The four dimensions are taha tinana, taha wairua, taha whānau and taha hinengaro. I hope you enjoy the kōrero from our speakers wherever you are. So from me, Elliot Collins, and all of us here at Tāmaki Paenga Hira, Auckland War Memorial Museum, ngā mihi o te tauhou Māori.
It's kind of my Bible. When I think about Te Whare Tapa Whā, it's been my way of trying to check in with myself. I always think, cool, he ngaro first, how am I doing in my head? And then I just kind of go down that list of like, yeah, how's my whānau doing? Check my actual body. And so, you know, just like a Bible, when you feel a bit lost or you're feeling like you don't know where you are, I just check in with that. I'm lucky I don't need to go Google it. I just know that internally, and I think it's quite intrinsic in my DNA too. So yeah, it's a Bible that I can call on when I want to like really go deep on hinengaro or tinana or my wairua especially. I can just tap into it, dig deeper, and then if I really want to try and break free from it, I go to the puka puka. When it comes to hinengaro, I have to check mine first. And in the work that I do, I put myself in a position to be responsible for other people and their hinengaro. So before I do or work with anyone else's, or before I take on that responsibility to carry out that kind of healing mahi, to have conversations like, how are you? Before I ask people, how are you? I got to make sure, how am I? And so before I step foot out of my whare, that's what I do first, is check my own. How have I been? If I feel like there's some work to be done, I get into meditation, I do breathing exercises and really get back into that space of te kore and try and get to the nothingness. And really, when I can bring in the Samoan aspects of being able to tiu the wā, tā wā, I need to make sure my time and my space is set first. And then I ask myself, am I going to be responsible for other people's lives today? Yes. And then I go out, how are you? And then I interact on social media, and then I say yes to emails or kaupapa to check in with other people. And before I take on that responsibility of carrying their hinengaro and how their mindset's doing. Yeah, to be honest, we didn't have that word Matariki. That wasn't a thing, and we think about maramataka, that's become a buzzword. It was actually more of a way of life. When I think back in my own upbringing, yes, we did. We actually did have rituals. So when I heard all these kōrero about Matariki and that year of celebration, I realised my koro actually did that 4 times a year with us. So I was very thankful. He was a man of the river, used to drag the net, and his reset was something that we all carried. And so luckily, us mokopuna, we had that, and we stayed in Grayland, and koro and my whānau, my uncles, would pack up the car, we'd drive down to Waiuku, to my hometown, go to Nanahira's house and collect the boat, fill it all up with kai, and then actually go out to the river. And so we have a 6-bedroom batch on the Waikato River on Tokotoko Island, and the only way you can get there is by boat. So my memories are more of catching the kai. Koro had his own little smoke room there, so we used to stay away from it because it smelt really bad. Full of tuna, so us kids used to try and find our way to get by the whitebait bench, go underneath it, go on the rafters that are in the water and get our little terrible looking hooks and lines and try and catch a tuna, while all the uncles actually doing the nets and going out on the little dinghy to try and do most of the bigger ika mahi. So that's the only true essence of what my rituals in my life have been. Did I know it was Matariki? Nope, had no clue. But my koro rose with the sun and he fell with the sun. So he was real big on get up, get everything done, get all the kai done, get everything sorted. He used to keep rotten corn in the bottom of his drawer. A couple of years I got in trouble because I'd chuck it out. It's like, I've been saving onto that for a long time. And so thankfully I felt disconnected to a lot of this new kōrero about what Matariki is, and actually realising I actually had that throughout my whole life, and it was on every school holidays. And luckily now I don't do it as often as an adult, but I know how to do it. And so in the last 2 years I've been thankful to use this time to really tap back into my own memories and use the karakia that Koro gave us. So I didn't realise that he would cry sometimes, quietly, and he would go to the RSA, and that was something that he did that reminded me of how he gives thanks and passes on and thinks of those loved ones that are passed on. He would go to his local tavern, Otawa Tavern, get his little handle out and just have a quiet beer, one beer. For me, what I do, I just hold space more. I use art to reflect kōrero of my tupuna. I karakia relentlessly at the top of maunga, and I go to the Manukau Harbour still today to horoi and tap the water 3 times. Tell Tangaroa I'm here, help me out, and then be on my way. Totally. I mean, I've been taught from my whānau, don't go up to a maunga and put all your hara on the maunga. So it's about me doing that first. You know, I for myself, you know, I apply Te Whare Tapa Whā, especially the taha hinengaro and taha wairua. To me, those go a bit more hand in hand, but then they're reflected in the tinana and the whānau. So in what I do, I never want to ever call myself a doctor or anything, but first and foremost, I make sure I'm good, and I actually go straight to the maunga, believe it or not. And in fact, I've merged my whole life to encompass doing hikui walks on our maunga and to activate the kōrero that have been given to me by my karaua and my whānau about what these maunga mean, who they are, and think of them as your kaumātua. And when I go up there, it feels like cuddles, and you know, especially with loved ones that you miss. And if I know that I've gone up there and it feels good, I usually feel the the wind. As soon as I feel the wind, I'm like, oh yeah, no, we're good. And usually uanuku will present itself, and so where I come from, and for my people, uanuku is our atua. And then we have our rehua, our stars that kind of guide us, but without the uanuku presenting itself, those are tohu that tell me how I'm doing really. So yeah, it's definitely a holistic part of life, and more I see the need to encourage people to walk our maunga, turn your phones off, take your shoes off, walk on those maunga with your bare foot, and if you can't get up a maunga, get a little bowl of water and put that over yourself in your room. And I always think about the most hardest position for a human. If they are in prison, the one thing they can do is have access to a little bit of water, kati o karu, close your eyes and imagine what your waters are and which waters you connect to. Tap on that and haroi puria i a koe and wash yourself down. So naturally, I believe we are all our own doctors once we tune into it. Yes, yeah. So as a people weaver, I think I can't talk about being a people weaver until I talk about where it comes from first. So mo te tuatahi, I carry the name the people weaver in acknowledgement to our tupuna Hua Kaiwaka, who was a progenitor of Tāmaki. And I think about that, you know. He was known for that name because they call him the eater of all canoes, but actually no, he was the weaver of all canoes. And you got to really think about where these kōrero come from and who wrote them, and it wasn't our own people calling him a eater of canoes, it was those who were threatened. So when you think about him, he was known for thinking about the socio-benefits, the socio-economic benefits, the strengths and the weaknesses of all from a cultural perspective, a political and environmental. And so when I think of what the mahi I do, I want to work with people and work in spaces that need revitalisation. And I can't claim to know everything, but what I can do is work alongside our arts community and work in that space of te whare pōra, the space of creating, and those that are invested in that space to come together. I've got 3 things or rules. Is first of all, why do you do what you do? If it's for the benefit of our people in the arts, cool, we can work together. Do you get paid for this mahi? And if so, what's your responsibility to ensuring that you uphold the treaty? And how does that interfold into things? And then the last one is, what are you going to offer to ngā Māori? How does that go back to the whenua? How does that go back to the people who have been disenfranchised? And so as soon as I've had that little kōrero with people, we start talking and it gets richer, more deeper. And I think being a people weaver and doing this kind of mahi, if people can answer those 3 things, ego's gone. Distrust, we trust each other more on another level where we don't have to have small talk, we can get straight into it. And then once that's done, they bring forth their tupuna, I bring mine forth. And then we create that wā, we start to tiu it together and wānanga. And then last of all, the ultimate goal in my mahi is to make sure that everyone feels pono and tika in what they do, whether you're Māori or not, that everybody has a right to do what they can. And when I think about it, when you think about the treaty, partnership is about listening to each other, ka nohi a kitea. Protection means that I have shared my knowledge and now it's on you to ensure that you uphold that. And if you choose to ignore that, then you compromise the protection of our culture and the integrity of what we've done. And when we think about participation, eating together, showing up on time together, and spending time and participating, that's what actively kind of makes us honour who we are. And it means that, you know, our non-Māori, our Pākehā whānau can feel just as empowered. And to me, that's where manaakitanga comes into it, to uplift one another's mana. Yeah. Hopefully I answered that all right. Oh man, so Hiwa i te rangi is my favourite star. I love them all. Yeah, so my wants and desires for the year to come is collectivity and to work smarter, not harder, and mana motuhake. Yeah, I crave being able to determine how I earn my living and how I eat my kai, and the type of mahi I do that I won't. Yeah, I really crave that for myself because I've been spending a lot of time learning everyone else's ways, and now I'm excited that I get to learn my own way, but not just learn it, I get to practice it and test and dabble and play around and make some mistakes too, and cry and crave my caramel lattes and stuff. But I look forward to being able to practice my own people's ways that are still very hard to come by right now. But I'm super excited that there's this generation today are just bright-eyed, sparking, amazing. They have the best of all the worlds. They have their mātauranga Pākehā, their mātauranga Māori, and they're open to the world. And I can see us all collaborating and working together. And I think we're all going to start going on koeing our waka the same way and going towards the same destination. Yeah. That's my wish to Matariki.